Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. For Margaret Dawson, a 59-year-old woman living in the quiet suburbs of Denver, Colorado, life had been relatively calm and predictable. She had retired from her teaching career just 2 years earlier and spent most of her time gardening, reading novels, and occasionally volunteering at the local library. She lived alone in a cozy brick house that had been her home for more than 3 decades. Though her children lived in different states and visited when they could, Margaret often felt the weight of loneliness. One rainy Thursday afternoon, she placed an online grocery order. She wasn't in the mood to go out in the storm and felt grateful for the convenience of modern technology. As she waited for her delivery, she prepared tea and sat by the window, listening to the rain patter against the glass. Around 5 p.m., the doorbell rang. Margaret opened the door, expecting to see an ordinary delivery driver. Instead, she found a young man, no older than 21, standing there, drenched from the rain but smiling warmly. He wore a delivery uniform, his brown hair plastered to his forehead. "Hi, ma'am," he said politely, balancing 2 grocery bags in his hands. "I'm Jason. I've got your delivery." Margaret quickly ushered him in, concerned by how soaked he was. "Oh my goodness, you're dripping wet. Come inside before you catch a cold." Jason hesitated but stepped into the hallway, grateful for the warmth. Margaret handed him a towel from the nearby closet. As he wiped his face and hair, she noticed how courteous and well-mannered he was. He placed the groceries neatly on the kitchen counter and double-checked the receipt. "Everything should be here," he said, his voice respectful. Margaret smiled. "Thank you, Jason. You must have had a hard day delivering in this weather." He chuckled. "Yeah, it's been rough, but it's my job. I'm just glad I could get here safely." Something about his humility touched Margaret. She offered him a cup of tea before he left, and though he initially refused, she insisted. "Please, you'll warm up faster with a hot drink." That cup of tea turned into a 30-minute conversation at her kitchen table. Jason told her he was a college student studying business at the University of Denver. He worked part-time delivering groceries to help pay for tuition and rent. Margaret shared stories about her years as a schoolteacher and the joy she once had shaping young minds. Before leaving, Jason thanked her sincerely. "You remind me of my grandmother," he said warmly. "She passed away last year, and I miss our talks." "You're really kind, Mrs. Dawson." For the first time in a long while, Margaret felt a spark of warmth inside her heart. She hadn't expected to connect with someone so young, but Jason's respect and genuine kindness reminded her that human connection could transcend age. The weeks went by, and Margaret continued ordering groceries online. By coincidence, or perhaps fate, Jason often ended up being the one who delivered them. Each time they shared small conversations. Sometimes he'd tell her about his college struggles, and she'd listen patiently, offering advice drawn from her life experience. Other times, she'd share her gardening tips, and he'd joke about how he could barely keep a cactus alive. One day, Jason arrived looking unusually downcast. Margaret immediately noticed his forced smile and asked, "Jason, are you all right?" He hesitated before admitting, "Honestly, I'm just stressed. Tuition fees went up again, and I'm not sure how I'll manage next semester." Margaret felt sympathy tug at her heart. She couldn't solve all his problems, but she knew the power of encouragement. "Jason, I know it feels overwhelming, but I've seen many students just like you, smart, hardworking, and determined. You'll find a way. Don't give up now, when you've already come so far." Her words brought him comfort, and from that moment on, Jason began to see Margaret not just as a kind customer, but as a mentor figure. As months passed, their bond deepened in a wholesome and heartwarming way. He began stopping by even when he wasn't delivering, sometimes to help her fix things around the house, like tightening a loose shelf or shoveling snow from her driveway. Margaret, in return, often cooked him meals or baked cookies, saying, "Every college kid deserves some home cooking now and then." One winter evening, Jason arrived to find Margaret struggling to carry a box of holiday decorations from the basement. He immediately stepped in to help, carefully placing the box on the living room table. As they decorated the Christmas tree together, Margaret felt a surge of joy she hadn't felt since her children were little. Jason laughed as he accidentally tangled himself in the string of lights, and Margaret laughed so hard tears welled in her eyes. That Christmas, Jason surprised her with a small gift, a framed photo of Denver's skyline at sunset. "I wanted you to have this," he said shyly. "You've given me so much kindness. I thought this could brighten your living room." Margaret was touched beyond words. She realized that though Jason wasn't family by blood, he had become family by heart. The following spring, Jason received exciting news. He had been accepted into an internship program with a major company in New York City. While thrilled for him, Margaret also felt a pang of sadness knowing he would soon leave. On his last evening before moving, Jason stopped by with a bouquet of flowers. "I just wanted to thank you," he said sincerely. "You've been like a guiding light to me. I'll never forget our talks, your encouragement, and your kindness." Margaret hugged him tightly, her eyes glistening. "Jason, you've reminded me that life still has surprises worth cherishing. I'm proud of you, and I know you'll do great things." As Jason drove away the next morning, Margaret stood at her doorway, watching until his car disappeared from sight. Though her heart ached, it was not from loneliness. It was from the fullness of gratitude. She knew their bond had changed her life as much as it had changed his. Months later, she received a postcard from New York. Jason had written, "Dear Mrs. Dawson, I'm doing well here. The city is busy, but I'm learning so much. I just wanted you to know that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for your support. Thank you for believing in me. You're truly one of the most important people in my life. With gratitude, Jason." Margaret placed the postcard on her refrigerator and smiled every time she saw it. She realized that sometimes life's most beautiful connections come unexpectedly, like opening the door to a young delivery boy on a rainy day. And in that moment, she understood something profound. Family isn't always about blood, but about the kindness, love, and support we share with one another.